welcome to class. As we are all experiencing, it's been quite a turmoil kind of time. And what we're journeying on at the moment is this concept of conscious striving. And we've played around with what conscious striving is, which is, as Yogi Bhajan speaks about, Matt Kahn talks about the polarity of working the being and the becoming. And so the journey that we've gone on is really about exploring the other ends, each end of the polarity, and tonight it's about balance. It's about coming to the equilibrium. And what's important about equilibrium and balance is knowing that we have an anchor, knowing that we have a center, knowing that we've got a reminder point that allows us to able to bring ourselves back. And the more you work with polarity, especially the conscious striving polarity, the more you'll be able to really anchor into what this middle point is for you. It doesn't mean you're always going to operate in the middle point, because this is Maya and life throws us tests and challenges so that we can play with the spectrum and the broad aspect of all that we are. But what's important about the equilibrium is that it allows us to return to the breath, to return to the stillness within, to return to that reminder of our truth, which is that we are divine, regardless. And that's a really important place to be in when you're working with conscious striving, because when we step away from this balance point and this truth of being divine, we can slip very easily into the ego-driven mind, which is pushing us to become something that we may not be. That's what the ego does. It pushes us to become an identity. But when the ego is driven through the mind and the mind's desire instead of the heart desire, often those identities aren't in line with our truth. And another important thing that working in this equilibrium does, it allows us to apply ourselves. Because when we're operating in the other end of the polarity of just being, we can float and we can just be very blissed out, caught in the moment without actually, what's the word? It's not executing, it's even deeper with that. Without, we use the word executing, without executing what it is that we've got inside of us, or that potential, or that purpose, or those skills. So we're going to really be playing around with this balance point tonight, with what this equilibrium is in regards to the being and becoming. Within life, we'll find that there is moments in time where we won't be able to stay centered, where we won't be balanced, where we may need to really strive and push ourselves and get really fired up. And there may be other times when we are just needing to just sit and relax and be centered and not do much. So when you work with what's called equilibrium, it's not about just staying in the center, it's about having the center resonate from you and allowing that to predict the swing of the pendulum. You know, whether it will be just a slight swing or whether it's a big one that stays at one end of the spectrum for a little bit longer, then it goes back to the other. with the swing of the pendulum, it's going to be very intense this year. We've already been feeling it because it's the 3 year. And for us that haven't had our birthdays yet, it will happen in more intensely once we kick into our birthdays. If you've already had your birthdays, you're feeling it. And what that means is that the 3 energy is all about what's good and what's bad, what's fun, what's boring. It's this big, massive swing, you know, and it's from the little devil versus the little angel. And it is, out of all the numbers numerologically, it is the one that swings the most. So what this point of equilibrium is helping us learn, that within this swing of life, we can still be focused within and aware. So when the swing is too big, or if we're getting caught somewhere at one end of the spectrum, our ability to be aware will help us come back into the middle. And often that's all we need is awareness. And the awareness will shift and change and morph our reactivity and the way that we interact with ourselves and with the world. So let's start playing with this equilibrium. Place your hands on your knees, palms facing up. Push down through the sit bones, reach up through the crown of the head, lengthening the spine, expanding the ribs in 4 directions so that you open up the heart space. And drop into that long, beautiful, deep breath. Using this breath to bring you into the balance point. Nothing else matters here and now but the inhale, the suspension, and the exhale. And observe how this breath is making you feel. As it washes through you, pulling you more deeper within, into your sacred space. And keep breathing long and deep, and bring your hands together and start to rub them. And press palm to palm, place your thumbs in at the middle of the chest. And prepare to open the class with the Adi mantra. And as you chant the 3 rounds, really succumb to the vibration within. Inhale fully, exhale completely, and inhale to chant. Keep your hands there, exhale. Then inhale and suspend the breath while the intention is set. May I find the balance point that can direct and guide my interactions and relations within the world and with myself, from a place of love and acceptance of all that I am. May this happen more than ever before for the benefit of all. And exhale, then sealing that in with 3 rounds of Arkarename. Arkarename, Jagarkarename, Sapkarename, Silguru Devinename, Arkarename, Jagarkarename, Sapkarename, Silguru Devinename, Arkarename, Jagarkarename, Sapkarename, Silguru Devinename. Inhale, suspend, taking your hands in prayer position all the way up through the center line, touching into the chakra of spirit. And then slowly exhale, sweep your hands through the aura, palms facing up. Radiate out your light, opening up your sacred space, and rest in the back of the hands on the earth.